Hi everyone, and welcome to tonight's session. I'm Surya from Document360 team, and I'm delighted to have you all here for today's session. We truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. With that, let's hop into the webinar. I'm excited to introduce our speaker, Surag, who's the Director of Technical Documentation at Certes for tonight's session. So Surag has like close to 20 plus years of experience across government, startups, and multinational corporations, and he specializes in transforming complex informations into clear and engaging content. So beyond technical writer, he's also a published author, a comic book creator, and storyteller. That's a lot of items into his professional arsenal. And in tonight's session, Surag will explore how AI tools can be leveraged to create educational comics, enhancing informational retention, engagement, and accessibility. So he'll also be discussing key use cases, which moves from marketing to course materials, the challenges of AI-assisted storytelling, the tools he uses, right from the Playground AI to Adobe Photoshop. So, by the end, you'll all gain practical insights into using AI for comic-based storytelling, which is really new, which I think you can leverage into the AI ecosystem of documentation these days. So, without further ado, the floor is all yours, Surag.
So this is the agenda today. Hope you are able to see my slides. So this will be the content that I will be covering today. And so when it comes to the personal journey, started I as Surya had mentioned, I am into I'm a published author. So I started with fiction writing. Rather than I started reading books, just like anybody out here. That is, we all love reading books, right? So once you read some books, once you read some fiction, you feel writing some fiction by your own. So that was something that I used to do. The next thing is I used to read the comics, and then I used to think how to create the comics. And so these things were like going more like a hobby or something that is of good interest that I used to do when I have some free time. And if you're wondering whether anybody gets the free time, of course you will always get time to do the things that you always like the most, right? So fiction writing, comics creation, all those things used to happen. Then technical writing was the main profession that I used to do. I've been in the industry for more than 2 decades. Then I thought, after a particular interval, I felt why not introduce comics into technical writing. So that's how it went on. So the reason for using comics in technical writing, one thing is technical writing is a so when we think about technical writing, it is the art of creating complex information in a simple way, so that people who are going through that get a hold of the complex topics which is mentioned in a simple way in the technical literature, like user guide, online help, installation guides, API documentation, and so on. So it's an art of simplifying the information. And if you use pictures to that, of course pictures talk thousand words, right? So if you use pictures to that, it will convey even more information. So when you combine these two, so that will be one of the great things to happen. And many others, the leaders in the industry, they have also thought in this way. So I think it was in the year 2007 or so when Google Chrome was released. The help of Google Chrome, it was a comic book. So it was written by created by a legendary Scott McCloud. So even during that time, that is as early as 2007, and even before that also, many companies have tried this. But why didn't they continue? So one of the reason was, of course, Google can have somebody like Scott McCloud to create comic books for them, but whether it can be a scalable process or sustainable process, it's very difficult. I earlier also mentioned that creating a complete comic book is not an easy task. Easy, not an easy task, because it involves first writing the script, then coming up with the drawings or penciling. After penciling comes inking, then comes coloring, then comes lettering. So there is a scriptwriter, there is a penciler, there is a inker, there is a colorist, there are editors. So it's more like a assembly line process, kind of, with different people doing different activities. And generally a comic book or a graphical novel will take months, sometimes even years to create. So if you're wondering about those the magazine kind of comics, they can be created fast, but even they will take time to create. And bigger companies like Marvel, etc., they have a DC, Marvel, etc., they have all these roles in who are doing these specialized activities and then combining and creating this. So if you are going to do all of these alone by yourself, it is even with the team, it is taking months to create. So if you are going to do all these things all by yourself, it's not that easy, or it's a quite laborious process. So that's where the AI generated comics come into place. So found an interesting so why you are going to use the comic book. So in my experience, the three areas in which we use the comic book, one thing is it was sold as a product with a price tag. So this itself was sold as a product. So that is one thing. Second thing is using it as a marketing material. So how we are going to use it as a marketing material is when you are going to for various events, there this book is sold, or this book is sometimes given to the people who are attending that event. And another thing is it is also sold through the online store of the company. So one thing is using it as a product. Second thing as a marketing material. So if you are thinking if it is sold, how come it is a marketing material? The reason is in this particular book, till the last page, that is it's telling a story, and in till the last page we are not hinting about the company. We were coming up with a course on artificial intelligence and why AI. For that we had a story. So in the last page, subtly we are giving a coupon. Okay, so only in the last page there is a coupon. So if you present this coupon, you will get a discount for the course that you are going to undertake. So it is used as a marketing material. Thirdly, when you undertake the course, this is one of the course material. So as an educational material or a course material, as a marketing material, and as a product by itself, these are the three ways in which this particular book was sold, or how I envisioned using these comic books. So these were the applications of the AI generated comics. So why AI generated? Because it takes, as I told, there are a lot of specialist roles which comes into the comic making, and if you are going to do all by yourself, it will take some time. So what you can do is, when you have this generative AI generated comics, it is a really fast process. So the things, say for example, this particular book, I so if you reduce the time that I was uh, giving for a review and waiting for somebody to come up with the review comments and all, but only the construction part, only the creation part, it took less than 2 weeks. Okay, so generally something that used to take months was created at a pace which is less than 2 weeks. So the thing is, AI can be a game changer in this particular case. Second thing, how to utilize this. So selling this itself as a product, then using it as a marketing material, and using it as a course material. Now let's go through the challenges while creating the comics. So as I mentioned, it starts with the script writing. That is, you need to have a compelling content for the comic book. In order to come, you need to have a narrative story that you are going to put. So for that, you need to have script. So the script is like this. That is, once you have the story, then you develop the script. That is panel by panel. What all things you should come there? What should be the picture? What should be the image? What should be the lettering thing? What should be the dialogues? What should be told below? Any special effects, sound, kind of wow, kind of those kind of effects, all those things. So one is the script writing. Second thing, one of the most challenging thing which comes with the AI comic book generation is maintaining the artistic consistency. So when it comes to generative AI, most of you will be already using the text editors like ChatGPT, Gemini, Cobalt, Alet, and so on, and now DeepSeek, etc. So you might have noticed that if you give the same query, you will get different answers each time. So when you are generating a comic book, what happens is if you are giving the same query, there is no guarantee that the next image. So if you have a character, there is no guarantee that the next image will look like the character that you have already created with the help of AI. It may look different. The surroundings may look different. So that is one of the challenge that is there. Meanwhile, all the images that are used in this, not from this book. I had another book, so I'm not sure whether I used the images from this book as well, but definitely this is from another book that I generated. So, and why I put the same image here is to prove that it is possible to create something like that. Definitely, with a book like this, you have the proof that it is created. So, just showing you that it is possible to create something like this. So, one challenges, one is having a good script. Second is the artistic consistency, and third is incorporating the feedback. Oh my god, the thing is something like this. Say for example, earlier as a technical writer or as a documentation manager or even a senior in this field, I used to get feedback from somebody who are into product management and different fields like that, development, QA, etc. Here what is happening is the whole company is giving me the feedback. Leave that, the children are also giving me the feedback. Okay, so the thing is, because they are my real end user, the children who of some of, because everybody found this something unique, something quite interesting, and they showed it to their children and they were giving me the feedback. And for me, the things were like this. That is, you might be 13, you might be 9, you may like pink, you may like blue, but for me, you are a very important customer or a prospective customer or somebody who are giving me valuable feedback, so that when I reach the real customer, it will be helpful for me. So everybody, even the children of the team members, will be giving you comments, and it is a really unique experience which I never had in my technical writing career, because everybody was giving you the feedback and you have to incorporate if it is valid, because you may have gone through a particular passage. You might have your own script and you might have got your own images with each prompt that you give. But now, when you are asked to change it, how to incorporate these feedback, that was really one of the most challenging part of creating a comic book. Now, let's come to the tools. So which are the tools that I used? So first thing is art generator. So art generator is something like chat gpt, then these guys, that is Copilot or Gemini, DeepSeek, all these guys are all these tools are text generators, whereas tools like Midjourney, PlaygroundAI, Leonardo.ai, all these are art generators. That is generating output images based on art style prompts that you give to them. So accordingly, they will generate the image for them. Once you have the image, you need to take it to a tool like Photoshop. So the problem of relying only on generative AI is if you there will be certain instances where you might have got an excellent image, but you might have to do some kind, say for example in this particular case here, whatever, hope you're seeing this, whatever prompt I gave, some writing part was coming here, there, etc. So I had to use a tool like Photoshop. So Photoshop, the good thing with Photoshop now is it has features that support AI. Say for example, it has generative fill. So generative fill will allow you to add, remove, or expand the elements in the image using text prompts within Photoshop. So, so if you just search a particular area and say fill this with gravel, so it will fill gravel with the background that is already there, merging with that. So image using and the knowledge of image editors is very important for you. And third thing is combination. That is, combination means the AI output should be complemented with the manual adjustments, because however good prompt that you give to the AI tool, you still have the story in the mind, you have the feedback in the mind, you have to plan out, okay, how many panels should be there, how many pages should be there, all these things you have to plan out in your mind, and accordingly you have to move ahead. So the combination of the human intervention as well as the AI output should be there to in order to generate the output. Now let's see some technical part of that, how the AI art generators generally work. So just like the text editors, they also are given massive data loads of images for training. And then what they do is they label and categorize the artworks, and they also categorize the artwork into different styles and genres, etc. Because they comics is one area or a medium in which I am working, but it will give you art styles of different genres across the world. Whether you want something realistic, whether you want something abstract, whether you want something like figurative abstract, whether you want a dark theme, all those things. So those are different art styles and genres that you can ask the art generator to generate. So for that, it is trained in all these data first. Second thing is the networks or the neural networks that it uses. So diffusion models are there, then GANs or generative adversarial networks. Those are the neural networks that the art generators use. And the generation process is something like this. The test prompts that we give, that is taken as the input, and the image is refined. That is, there is a noise to image transformation. Noise in the sense it will be pixelated or dots kind of thing. Only the image, something is made sense out of that. So AI learns the patterns, it understands the context, and then it creates new images that were not existing before, because you have actually it works on that training set. It understands different aspects, how a cat will look like, how an apple will look like, how an art style should be. All those things it understands. It learns the patterns, it then understands the context based on the prompt that you give, then it generates the images, generally a surprising kind of image when it combines all these and give it to you. So that's how the AI art generators work. So now let me give you some prompts that you can use. So I talked about different art styles using Gen AI art generators. So let's see one art style. So this one is high contrast black and white. So in the right side, you might have seen these images where you have the high contrast black and white image. So in this art style, it is also called the neo-noir art style. So in neo-noir, what used to happen is there is a sharp division between, or stark contrast between the pure black and white images. So this is one of the characteristic of this kind of comics. And there won't be much somewhat in between gray tones. It will be either black or white, and sharp contrast will be there. there will be shadows, and there will be highlights. So let's see how the prompt was given to generate this image in the right side. Ultra high contrast black and white illustration, graphic novel rendering. Sharp silhouettes with extreme lighting, deep noir shadows, and brilliant white highlights. So you can read this. I need not read this full for you, but if you go or if you have a look into the prompt, you can see that it is a very elaborate prompt that was given. So if you want, when it comes to something like a graphic book generation, what need to happen is, it's like you just cannot give some one or two sentences and hope that it will generate the magic. It will give you some kind of an output, but if you want a graphic novel in this style, okay, then what you can do is you can just copy this kind of prompt. Once you see an image that was generated, for each scene you can make some modifications to that, while making sure that some of the things like no color, pure monochromatic contrast, crisp edges, bold graphic novel composition, those things are intact. So in that manner you can keep on experimenting and then generate the image as the story proceeds. So this is the neo noir style. Then the manga style. So I hope there are a lot of fans for manga style of comics here as well. So this was one of the comics prompt that I gave for generating this image in the right. So the points that I've written is some of the characteristics of manga style, and then the prompt. So if you know these are the characteristics of a manga style, then you can accordingly think and generate the prompts based on that. So if you're wondering, that is, this looks like a very sophisticated prompt. Maybe if you're wondering that the guy who is speaking to you, that is, I'm basically an artist and he can generate that. I'm not an artist, I'm just a writer. How will I generate something like that? It's only based on experience. Okay, the thing is, even my earlier prompts were not as detailed as this. So how can you generate some good prompts? For that, one thing is, you can ask the text generators. You can ask chat gpt or Gemini to say that this is my story and this is the art style I would like to follow. So can you give me some good prompts to generate something like this? So that is one way. Second thing is, you can go to Midjourney or many other. So just like Chat GPT is kind of leading, yeah, this matter of debate now. DeepSeek has come and Gemini is there, many others are there. But still, just like we are saying, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, as some of the leaders in that particular area. Here, when it comes to the art generators, it's Midjourney who is generally the leader. So there are many others. Say, for example, this was not created using Midjourney. This was created using PlaygroundAI. So, like that, you can have your own favorite tools. So, all these are wonderful. That is the best thing. And as we talk about this, if I give the same webinar on the same topic, if I give the same webinar after, say, 6 months, I may be talking about entirely different things and aspects to that, because you know what, there are certain decades where nothing happens. Then there are certain weeks when decades happen. So that's what's actually happening with the AI changes. So almost all fields, there are kind of massive jumps that are happening. So so what I was telling was, the thing is, you can always see something that is already existing and then refine your prompts accordingly and slowly get your develop your expertise in that. So if you are wondering that this is a very sophisticated prompt, I won't be able to generate like that, nothing like that. You can also generate that with the as you experiment with them. Everything that is needed is your interest and your imagination. Okay, so this is another style that I like. This is, if you are a fan of Tintin, etc. Okay, So the European clear line or ligne clear style. So this is another style that people use for generating comics. So when it comes to the comic art style, let me tell you, um, when we think about comics, that is, most of us might have read the comics in Tinkle or some other great Amar Chitragatha, and then moved on to Marvel, DC, etc. So the kind of image that we have in our mind about comics is, one is it should be funny, humorous kind of comics, or action kind of comics. But comics were written for almost any genre under the world. It can be dark, it can be, say, for example, neo noir is more dark kind of style. So like that, almost all styles the comics were written. And some of the great graphic novels, they are not really novels. That is, some of them are the experience of people. Even war comics are there. I mean, the narration, the war journalism was told using comics. So there are a whole lot of art style out there which you can try in comics. So this is the color minimalistic illustration. So it's more simplicity, clarity kind of style oriented comic. And then if you're wondering, or if you're a fan of this watercolor kind of, say for example, the Amar Chitrada kind of comics, right? So it's more transparent. So when it comes to watercolor, it is like it is a transparent medium. So and gouache is another medium. So if you are into the art field, gouache is also similar to watercolor, but it is not transparent. Then there is another medium called acrylic. Then there is another medium called oil, like that. So all those styles also you can, all those mediums also you can ask the art generator to bring in. So this is a watercolor textured comic art that you are seeing here. Then this is what I call retro kind of a style. That is, there is lithograph inspired color overlays. So it's like it has a handmade look. That is the screen printing kind of look. You might have seen some comics in this manner. So whatever style you want to go to, the new, or you want to go to the neo noir style or manga style, or if you want to go to risograph style, or the European comic style, or watercolor style, or anything, there are options for creating them. Now, let's see what was I told that this the way of creating comics. It was or it is a process of specialist jobs. So generally, in traditionally, how somebody creates comic. One thing is, you have to develop the story outline and you have to select the panels. Then you create thumbnails. So thumbnails are like, so just like when it comes to a filmmaking, you have the storyboarding, right? Like that. So somebody may think that comics itself is something like a storyboarded thing, whether you require another storyboarding for comics. Actually, there is something called thumbnailing. That is where you create the rough small sketches, and then you so that you understand that, and then you actually draw in the paper in the way that you want. So thumbnailing process is there. Then the penciling process is there, inking. So first you draw with the pencil, then you ink, so that the precise cuts are there. Then if required, you can take to Photoshop, or if you can take to tools like Illustrator for the digital refinement. Then you go ahead with the coloring part. That is, you have to add the shades, because I'm not talking about cartoon kind of comics. So for example, even these comics that I created, right? So all these comics, they are having what I call a semi-realistic, or sometimes even realistic, that kind of looks, right? I'm not just talking about cartoons, I'm talking about comics of different styles. So the coloring part is quite important. Then comes the lettering part. So the lettering thing is these kind of the dialogues, what all things are written. So all those things are the lettering part. And finally, the digital publishing, or the publishing into a book. So all these things are there in the comic book creation traditionally. Now let's see how it was created using, or how it is created using AI or generative AI. First thing is to develop the story outline and select panels. Select panels in the sense how many panels should be there in a page. Say for example, in this particular page, you have one, two, three, and the shapes are like this. Whereas here you have four panels. Here you have three panels. The shapes are different from that. So here you have four panel in each page like that. So how many panels should be there altogether, and how many panels should be there in each page? That you come up with an idea based on the story and then the script that you are going to write. That is, you are essentially writing the script or outline for each of the panels. What should be there in the panel? Second thing is you have to generate the visuals. So now the visuals of what all should be there is in your mind. Then you are going to generate it using your tools like Midjourney, Leonardo AI, and others. A whole lot of them are there. You just explore and find out what's your favorite kind of a thing. So generally, so I used to playground AI. So during that time, what used to happen is I I so there are different pricing. So you can generate 1, 4, 8, even 16 kind of output in a single based on the based on what plan you have opted. Suppose you have opted for a 16 image kind of a thing. With one prompt, most among the 16, at least one should be of your liking. If it requires some minor adjustments, you can do it in Photoshop or any other tool. So the next thing is you have to arrange this panel into some design software. So it can be Adobe Illustrator, Manga Studio, or even PowerPoint. So because in PowerPoint also you can put these frames or panels. So like that you can arrange these panels into. So you have the pan. What should be there in the panel? You have the panel. Then you have the art that will go into the panel, and you can arrange them in PowerPoint. Then you choose the appropriate comic font. So generally limit to two kinds of font: a type of font for the heading and a type of font for the text. So the heading, so this is the font for the text that I have chosen. The heading, special effects, those kind of fonts are different. So like that you can choose the fonts, and then you can add speech bubbles, what we call as the lettering part, speech bubbles, thought bubbles, all those bubbles you can add. And then you separate the narrative into chapters. So so chapters means it's like this chapter 1 and chapter 2, like that. So because you just like the way you write a user guide, that you arrange them into different chapters and then design a visually appealing cover page both side. So that is the process of creation using AI. Now, the next important thing that comes, that is how to get your management interested. Okay, you have created all those things, or you no, you haven't created. You have this fascinating idea of telling the technical content or the narrative or educational content using comics. But how to get your management interested? One thing is, if you have this idea, or if you are inspired by this webinar, or if you are inspired by some other, you are already inspired for creating this, do not wait for anybody to give you don't go to a boss and say that yesterday I attended a webinar and that guy was talking about creating technical content using comics. So it's like, shall I start? Don't ask that. Actually start making the comics when you have a story to tell. That is, when you have a technical scenario to explain. So if you have a story to tell, start making the comics. And you know what? Everybody has a story to tell. It's like, I know you have a story to tell. Select the story, that is your use case scenario, generate the script, prepare at least an 8-page comic book. You need not create a 100-page comic book or a large one, at least an 8-page comic book. Once you have that, find advocates within your team, then present to the management. So don't limit to create a two-page comic book and think that the total effort will be a multiplication of that. Not really, because only when you create more and more pages, you will go through different challenges of that. Okay, so create at least an 8-page comic book. So if they took it from you, great. If they didn't take it, still it's okay. Why? Because you have done something that, yeah, that didn't click. But what's wrong in that? You have created a comic book, something that you can be proud about, right? So the thing is, do not think that, okay, I've done some this. Even by going through this also, there is a lot of hard work that is involved. But don't think that if I created a lot of hard work and it's going, whether it's going to be a waste or something, don't think like that. Okay, just create that, at least an 8-page comic book. Now, so till now, I was talking about art generators who can create the comics, or you can say that even that is a manual process by now, because the AI, the things have really advanced faster because they are AI comic creators now. So just like there are text creators, art creators, now there are specialized AI comic creators or comic generators. AI comic generators are there. So how do they work? So you have to give the story input. You can select the characters that they give to you. Then you can visualize the step by step comic panels that will come. You can generate the image, have the editing capabilities within the tool. And you can also it works like you can bring in your co-creators and have everything, all the feedback, everything captured in a centralized tool like that. So even that is possible now. So generally it is used for webtoons. That is, webtoons are those kind of comics which you can just keep on scrolling in your phone, etc., to access them. So that is, it has reached in that kind of level, right? So if you are wondering if these kind of things, specialized comic things are there, why should I really go ahead with an art generator? So that can be so if you see here, I'm not sure that you can see it clearly. This is a webtoon that I have generated. So so the webtoon. Okay, hope you are seeing that. So you can keep on scrolling, right? So this is how a webtoon will look like, which was created using an AI comic generator. So if you're wondering if tools like this is there, why or what are the challenges, or why I didn't really start with that, because I already created using this tool as well. So why didn't I start with that? So one of the problems that I felt was the inconsistent character growth or sometimes age representation. So if you are talking about a story of a father and a child, and the boy is growing, but sometimes it is failing to reflect the growth progression of the boy. That is, the son, when the son is 6 years old, the son is 10 years old, son is 14 years old. But even when he is 14 years old, sometimes it will show the traits of a 6 year old. So, like that, it may confuse a bit. Then, occasionally, it will mix up the characters. That is, some of the characters that the son is supposed to have is given to the father, or vice versa. The son will suddenly look like an aged person, something like that. And you need to have some more manual interventions. But having said that, so for example, this I have generated that, right? These tools are improving at a really fast pace. So the thing is, maybe next time if I take a similar webinar, I may not even have the slide, because they have kind of solved many of the issues. It may happen like that. So, and so if we are going in this direction, actually I'm with these kind of tools. Actually you should be having specialized tools also. What I like to have is 3D room. So if somebody from those teams are here, my request is you can have 3D room environments. You can have a comprehensive asset library with the prompts, something that we can use for this, diverse styles, a timeline editor, just like the way we edit this one, that is video editors, just like the way Camtasia works, just like the way any other the linear film editing tools work. If you have something like that, even wonderful. And so this one is now mainly a webtoon is generated. That is, it goes like this. So instead, something like this, if it can be downloaded and can be printed into a book, or if it can be given to social media, or a video friendly, that is as slide by slide, if it can come, that all will be wonderful. So that is the AI comic generator and enhancements that I would like to have. So now one another thing, this is one of the slide and the last slides that I'm having. So one of the things that I like to talk is about the AI video generators. So text generators are there, art generators are there, even comic generators are there. What about video generators? So actually, some of them are already there. That is, you might have seen some of Sora's video, right? OpenAI Sora video. So Runway, Hyper, all those tools are there for video creation. But the problem that I've seen is, say, for example, in the case of even art generators, if you even opted for a 16 image kind of package, many times, say, for example, if you are generating a 100-page comic, and each page there are 5 panels. So that means you have around 500 pictures, and for those 500 pictures you might be generating something like 3000 plus pictures and then taking. So there is a lot of what you call garbage out there, many things you have to discard, and you take only the most important one in the case of an art generator. When it comes to video generation, the waste generation is even more. That is the kind of example that OpenAI Sora put in their website. For having that kind of 5 second, 10-second kind of clip, they might have generated a whole lots of hours and hours of video to just give something good that can be presented in a website. So improvements are should be happening in the coming days, then only it is fully usable kind of a thing. That's what my opinion. Then, but even now there are avatar based video creator, say for example Synthesia, etc. If you want, if you are starting a news channel or something like that, you have the avatar coming and then speaking based on the content that you are giving with all kind of movements. So those kind of avatar based video creators are already there. Then clip and short forms kind of quick social media content, quick clips generations things are there. But what I'm looking for is giving prompts, and just like I generate panel by panel image, let it be say 1 minute video. Like that, if I get 90 videos, then it's a 90-minute film, and then I can call it as a feature film, right? At least 90 minutes. So if I can generate something like that, a 90-minute, a 100-minute kind of a feature film, only with the help of prompts, right, and some kind of editing, of course, then I'd like to say that they have reached that level that one is looking. But the pace at which the things are going, even that should be possible quickly. So I'm really optimistic about that.
Amazing. Yep. Thank you, Surag. The session was indeed insightful, and I'm sure the audience will agree with me. So, we'll be back with another exciting session soon. So until then, keep exploring, keep creating, and have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you for joining us tonight, Surag. Have a nice day.